I find myself in the hospital, undergoing rehabilitation after a peculiar accident. It happened on my sister's birthday, of all days, during a skydiving trip. The irony isn't lost on me. The hospital is surprisingly pleasant, with its modern architecture softened by vibrant artwork and friendly staff. Despite the sterile smell that pervades the corridors, there's a comforting sense of care in every interaction. Nurses bustle about, always ready with a smile and encouraging word. My mum visits often, bringing with her a sense of normalcy that I desperately crave. We take walks to the lake just outside the hospital grounds. The lake is a gem nestled in the city, its surface adorned with graceful swans gliding effortlessly. It's my escape from the clinical confines of the hospital, a place where I can feel the sun on my face and hear the rustling of leaves in the breeze. These walks have become my lifeline, a daily ritual that breaks the monotony of medical routines and doctor's appointments. As we stroll along the winding paths, my mum and I talk about everything and nothing. Sometimes we discuss my progress, but often we reminisce about happier times or speculate on future plans. The park surrounding the lake is meticulously maintained, with tall trees offering patches of cool shade and blooming bushes adding splashes of color. In spring, the air is filled with the scent of fresh flowers, and in autumn, the ground is carpeted with fallen leaves that crunch underfoot. Despite the beauty of the hospital and its surroundings, I yearn to spend more time outdoors, to feel the grass under my feet and watch the clouds drift by without the constant reminder of illness and recovery. But for now, I cherish these moments by the lake, holding on to the hope that each step brings me closer to leaving this place behind, healthier and stronger than before. On one of our walks by the lake, we encountered a man who seemed particularly fixated on my hair. It started subtly. He would glance at me and smile, his eyes lingering on my hair as if it held some special fascination for him. At first, his compliments were flattering. He would remark on how beautiful my hair looked in the sunlight, how it framed my face just right. It was nice to receive attention, especially in a place where routines and medical concerns often dominated. But as days passed, he began appearing more frequently during our walks. His comments about my hair became more frequent and more intense. He would often turn his whole body to look at my hair, almost ignoring everything else about me. I started feeling uncomfortable with his persistent focus on my hair. It began to feel intrusive, like he was not seeing me as a person, but rather as an object of his admiration. Each encounter left me uneasy, despite my mom's attempts to reassure me that he was just being complimentary. The setting around us remained idyllic, bright sunlight filtering through the trees, casting dappled shadows on the pathways. The lake shimmered peacefully, reflecting the clear blue sky above. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves, carrying with it the faint scent of wildflowers. Yet, amid this serene backdrop, I couldn't shake off the discomfort that grew each time the man appeared. His fixation on my hair seemed to overshadow everything else, casting a shadow over what should have been moments of peace and recovery. As we continued our walks, I found myself increasingly wary of encountering him again. I began to alter our routes, hoping to avoid him and regain the sense of tranquility that the park and the lake had once provided. But despite my efforts, his presence lingered in the back of my mind, a reminder that even in the most beautiful of settings, discomfort can still find its way in. The man's presence became increasingly unsettling as he started appearing in unexpected places, near the elevator, at intersections in the hospital corridors. It was as if he was tracking my every move, and his relentless attention began to wear on me. Initially, his compliments about my hair were flattering, albeit overly sweet. However, they soon took on a more invasive tone. He would approach me with comments that seemed overly personal, almost possessive, and occasionally he would reach out as if to touch my hair. In the sterile, white-lit corridors of the hospital, his sudden appearances felt ominous. The walls seemed to close in with each encounter, amplifying my unease. The hospital, once a place of care and recovery, now felt like a maze where I was constantly on edge, watching for his next appearance. His compliments grew more insistent, and his attempts to touch my hair became bolder. Despite my discomfort, he persisted, always finding a way to insert himself into my surroundings. The once comforting routines of rehabilitation now felt tainted by his presence. My anxiety escalated with each passing day. I found myself constantly looking over my shoulder, hoping not to see him lurking nearby. I began pleading with my mum to stay with me at all times, fearing his sudden appearances when I was alone. The hospital corridors, illuminated by harsh white lights, offered both isolation and a false sense of security. Every corner turned seemed to hold the possibility of encountering him again, his compliments ringing hollow in the antiseptic air. As I navigated through these unsettling moments, I clung to the familiarity of my mum's presence, finding solace in her reassurances amidst the growing unease. Yet with each uninvited appearance of the man, the sanctuary of the hospital became more fraught with tension, transforming it into a place where safety felt increasingly elusive. The man's behavior took a darker turn as his compliments turned less polite and his stares grew more intense. His presence now felt like a looming threat rather than mere admiration. In the dimly lit corridor near the elevator, he crossed a line. We were alone when he made his move, reaching out as if compelled by some uncontrollable urge to touch my hair. His hand hovered dangerously close, and fear gripped me like a vice. I screamed, the sound echoing off the sterile walls. My cry pierced through the tense atmosphere, drawing the attention of my mum, who was nearby. Startled, the man quickly retreated into the shadows. I was shaken to the core. The cold air of the hospital corridor felt suffocating, filled with the lingering scent of medical disinfectants. The weak lighting seemed inadequate, casting eerie shadows that seemed to dance with the tension in the air. The incident left me feeling vulnerable and exposed. Despite my mum's comforting presence, I couldn't shake off the sense of violation. The hospital, once a place of safety and healing, now felt like a battleground where I constantly had to watch my back. His actions had escalated from unsettling admiration to outright aggression, and I realized with a sinking feeling that I was not safe, even within these walls. The fragility of my situation became starkly clear, overshadowing any sense of comfort that the hospital environment had once provided. As I processed the events of that day, I knew that something had to change. The threat posed by the man had grown too real, and I couldn't continue to live in fear within the confines of the hospital. It happened in an instant. My mom had stepped away briefly to make a phone call, leaving me alone in my wheelchair near the lake. The tranquility of the green bushes and the gentle rustling of leaves masked the impending danger that lurked nearby. Suddenly, he appeared from seemingly nowhere, his intentions chillingly clear. The man made a grab for my wheelchair, attempting to steer it towards the bushes. Panic surged through me as I realized his sinister plan. With a surge of adrenaline, I leaped from my wheelchair, startling him with my unexpected mobility. His assumption that I couldn't walk had been a fatal mistake. I screamed at the top of my lungs, my cries for help piercing the serene atmosphere around the lake. My mum heard my desperate scream from where she stood, and in a flash, she sprinted towards us. Her arrival was like a guardian angel descending upon us, her protective instincts kicking into overdrive. She confronted the man with fierce determination, forcing him to release my wheelchair and flee into the shadows. She gathered me into her arms, holding me tightly against her chest. I could feel her heart racing in sync with mine, both of us shaken by the close call. The once peaceful setting of the lake, with its green bushes and quiet rustling leaves, now bore witness to the raw intensity of our fear and relief. The incident left us both trembling, the echoes of my screams still hanging in the air. The greenery around us seemed to close in, suffocating in its otherwise peaceful embrace. As my mum comforted me, I realized how vulnerable I had been in that moment. The hospital, for all its safety measures, had failed to protect me from the man's predatory intentions. It was a harsh awakening to the reality that danger could lurk even in the most serene of surroundings. But amidst the fear and shock, I found solace in my mum's embrace. Her swift action had saved me from harm, reaffirming the strength of her love and protection. Together, we clung to each other, finding strength in our shared ordeal and the unbreakable bond that had guided us through it. Following the frightening incident, the hospital swiftly responded by enhancing its security measures. My mum immediately reported the incident to hospital staff, prompting them to implement stricter protocols. The hospital installed additional surveillance cameras throughout the premises and imposed tighter restrictions on visitors. These measures were a reassuring step towards ensuring the safety of patients and their families within the hospital grounds. Our daily walks around the park and corridors of the hospital were now accompanied by security guards. Their presence was a comforting shield, a visible reminder that steps had been taken to protect us from any further threats. I felt a significant relief knowing that the hospital was actively working to safeguard us. The once tranquil park and hospital corridors, now bustling with security personnel and new regulations, seemed to offer a renewed sense of security. The guards escorted us everywhere, ensuring we were never left vulnerable or alone. Their watchful presence became a constant reassurance, allowing me to gradually regain a sense of normalcy amidst the lingering anxiety from the previous ordeal. The hospital, now under heightened security, became a beacon of safety in what had previously been a moment of vulnerability. With each guarded step we took, I felt the weight of fear slowly lift, replaced by a cautious optimism that we were now better protected within these walls. Despite the heightened security measures, the man persisted in his attempts to breach the hospital in order to reach me or my mum. It became a harrowing cycle of intrusion and apprehension, each incident documented by surveillance cameras and thwarted by vigilant security guards. Time and again, he tried to gain entry into the hospital, each attempt met with swift intervention by the guards. Whether he tried to enter the building or approach me during our walks, the guards were there to intercept him, their presence a steadfast barrier against his relentless pursuit. The hospital staff, alarmed by the persistence of these incidents, escalated their response. They contacted the police, seeking additional protection and legal intervention. The authorities were brought in to reinforce the security measures already in place, ensuring that every possible avenue of threat was closely monitored and controlled. The tension within the hospital was palpable. The once serene atmosphere now brimmed with apprehension and heightened vigilance. External gates and internal areas of the hospital, usually havens of healing and care, now bore the weight of heightened security protocols and the ongoing threat posed by the man. For me and my mum, each day brought a mixture of relief that the hospital was taking action and lingering fear over the persistence of the man's attempts. The support from security and law enforcement offered a glimmer of hope that the situation would soon be resolved, but the emotional toll of the continued threat remained. As we navigated through this turbulent period, the hospital became a fortress of protection. Its walls reinforced not only by concrete and steel, but by the unwavering dedication of those determined to keep us safe from harm. Finally, the police apprehended the man as he attempted to break into the hospital through a rear window. It was a late-night encounter that marked the culmination of his persistent pursuit. The authorities responded swiftly to the situation, alerted by the heightened security measures and the vigilant eye of the hospital staff. They found him in the act, attempting to force his way into the hospital under the cover of darkness. He resisted arrest, putting up a brief struggle against the officers. Despite his size and strength, the determined efforts of the police prevailed, swiftly subduing him and placing him under arrest. The news of his apprehension brought a wave of relief washing over me. The weight of fear and uncertainty that had burdened me for so long began to lift. Knowing that he was no longer a threat, that he was now in police custody, filled me with a sense of safety and closure. The setting shifted to the police station, where the air carried the metallic scent of law enforcement and the palpable sense of strict security measures. It was a stark contrast to the hospital, yet both environments had played crucial roles in ensuring my safety during this ordeal. As I reflected on the events that had unfolded, I felt gratitude towards the hospital staff, the security guards, and the police who had worked tirelessly to protect me and my mum. Their swift actions and unwavering dedication had brought an end to the nightmare that had haunted us for so long. With the man behind bars, I could finally begin to heal, knowing that justice had been served and that I could move forward with a renewed sense of peace and security. The interrogation room was stark and cold, with harsh lighting casting sharp shadows across the hard, uncomfortable chairs. It was here that the man underwent questioning, revealing startling details about his troubled mental state. As the interrogation unfolded, it became clear that he had been grappling with serious psychiatric issues. His aggressive behavior stemmed not from malice, but from a mind clouded by mental illness. This revelation stirred within me a complex mix of emotions, compassion intertwined with relief. Initially, I had struggled to reconcile his actions with the person I had briefly encountered. He had seemed like any other person, and his sudden fixation on me had felt inexplicable and terrifying. Now, learning about his underlying struggles with mental health, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pity for him. The realization dawned on me that the incident was not just a threat to my safety, but also a stark reminder of the importance of offering support and assistance to those struggling with mental illness. It highlighted the vulnerability of individuals in our society who may not receive the care and treatment they desperately need. In the interrogation room, amidst the tense atmosphere and probing questions, I came to understand the depth of his turmoil. His actions, however alarming, were a cry for help from a mind in turmoil, a plea for understanding amidst the chaos of untreated mental health issues. As I left the sterile confines of the interrogation room, the weight of what had transpired lingered. The encounter had left an indelible mark on me, prompting a newfound awareness and empathy towards those facing similar battles with mental illness. The setting, with its unforgiving chairs and clinical ambience, served as a stark backdrop to the human drama that unfolded, a reminder of the fragility of mental health and the need for compassion in our responses to such challenges. Life after the arrest settled into a rhythm that gradually felt more familiar, though the echoes of recent events lingered in our thoughts and actions. My mother and I, having weathered the storm of danger and uncertainty, found ourselves navigating a path towards healing and restoration. The days that followed the arrest were marked by a cautious optimism. We went about our daily routines with a heightened awareness, each noise and movement scrutinized through the lens of recent trauma. It was a process of relearning how to trust in the stability of our surroundings, a journey that unfolded one tentative step at a time. For my mother and me, our bond grew stronger in the aftermath. She became not just a parent, but a confidant and source of unwavering support. Her presence was a constant reminder that we were not alone in this journey of recovery. We leaned on each other for strength, finding solace in shared moments of reflection and gratitude for our safety. The community played a crucial role in our healing process. News of what had transpired spread quickly, eliciting an outpouring of empathy and solidarity from our neighbors and acquaintances. Offers of assistance came in various forms, from practical help with chores and errands to emotional support through heartfelt conversations and gestures of kindness. I found myself immersed in a network of caring individuals who sought to ease our burden and facilitate our healing. They provided a sense of belonging and reassurance that extended beyond the immediate aftermath of the arrest. Their genuine concern helped to restore my faith in humanity, reminding me of the goodness that could emerge from even the darkest of circumstances. As the initial shock wore off, I began to reflect more deeply on the events that had led us to this point. The man who had caused so much turmoil in our lives remained a haunting presence in my thoughts. I wondered about his motivations, about the chain of events that had brought him into our orbit and subsequently disrupted our sense of security. Therapy became an important part of my journey towards emotional recovery. Speaking with a professional counselor allowed me to articulate my fears and anxieties in a safe space. It provided me with tools to cope with lingering trauma and to gradually release the grip that fear had on my daily life. Through therapy, I began to understand the importance of processing my emotions rather than suppressing them, a lesson that would serve me well in the months to come. Meanwhile, my mother embarked on her own path of healing. She threw herself into activities that brought her joy and a sense of purpose, whether it was gardening in our backyard or volunteering at a local charity. Her resilience was a testament to the strength of her spirit, a strength that she quietly imparted to me through her actions and unwavering optimism. Together, we navigated the legal proceedings that followed the arrest. The judicial system, with its complexities and delays, added another layer of stress to our lives. Yet, we persevered with the support of legal advocates who guided us through the intricacies of court appearances and testimonies. Each step brought us closer to a resolution, albeit slowly and with moments of frustration. In the midst of this upheaval, I found moments of solace in creative pursuits. Writing became a therapeutic outlet through which I could process my thoughts and emotions. I poured my experiences onto the pages of a journal, weaving together narratives of fear, resilience, and hope. The act of writing allowed me to reclaim my voice and assert control over my own narrative, a small but significant step towards reclaiming my sense of agency in a situation that had initially left me feeling powerless. As time passed, the intensity of our emotions began to ebb. The sharp edges of fear and uncertainty softened into a more manageable ache, a reminder of how far we had come on our journey of healing. We celebrated small victories, a peaceful night's sleep, a day without intrusive thoughts, as signs of progress towards reclaiming a sense of normalcy. The support of friends and loved ones continued to sustain us through the ups and downs of recovery. Their unwavering presence served as a beacon of hope during moments of doubt and despair. They listened without judgment, offering words of encouragement and gestures of kindness that buoyed our spirits on difficult days. With each passing week, the headlines that had once dominated our lives gradually faded into the background. We no longer felt defined by the events of the past, but rather by our resilience in the face of adversity. The scars of trauma remained, but they were tempered by a newfound sense of strength and resilience that had emerged from the crucible of hardship. Looking back, I realized how profoundly the experience had shaped me. It had forced me to confront my vulnerabilities and to discover reservoirs of inner strength that I had not known existed. I had learned the importance of self-care and compassion, both towards myself and others who had experienced similar hardships. In the quiet moments of reflection, I found myself grateful for the lessons learned and the relationships strengthened. The journey of recovery had been arduous, but it had also been transformative. It had taught me resilience, empathy, and the enduring power of community in times of adversity. As I write these words, I am reminded of how far we have come since that fateful day. The road ahead may still hold challenges, but I face it with renewed courage and a deep-seated belief in the possibility of healing and renewal. The scars of the past have become part of my story, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the capacity for hope in the face of adversity. In closing, I am grateful for the support of my mother, whose unwavering love and strength sustained me through the darkest of times. I am grateful for the community that rallied around us, offering kindness and compassion when we needed it most. And I am grateful for the opportunity to share our journey of recovery, knowing that our experiences may offer hope and encouragement to others facing their own challenges. The journey continues, but we face the future with optimism and gratitude for the lessons learned along the way. We are survivors, strengthened by adversity and united in our determination to embrace life with courage and resilience.